Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Real Talk About Feminism. We've got a great topic today, and we're excited.
I'm a woman in STEM today because
Yes.
do you know how many articles I had to comb through for this?
Mm-hmm.
A lot. Okay.
Yeah. Ken's put her whole bajussy into this.
I really did. Because
Yeah.
I want to make sure it's easy to understand and accurate for you guys.
Yeah, you were doing some science. When you were doing the notes, you were like, "Oh, I didn't know I would still be in school after I graduated."
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
I am too. Let's do our obsessions first.
Okay.
We don't have any updates for you guys. Our lives are boring right now.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna do obsessions.
Yep. Okay, mine. I guess I'll go 1st. Mine is I finally joined the Stanley Cup gang.
You're a Stanley girly.
I'm a Stanley girl.
And remember, you were always like, I'm never getting one. It's so big.
I know, and I apologized.
I know.
I did.
And today, when you were like, I feel like a giant baby with a sippy cup.
Yes, because I just carry it around. But yeah, I got a Stanley Cup. We went to Target, and they literally had 2 left. It was like a tie-dye design, but just one color.
Mm-hmm.
So like cloudy, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like clouds.
Yeah.
And it was like a light green, and then they had a light purple, and it was like limited edition. But that's the only 2 they had, and I was like really determined to get a Stanley. And normally I would get a pink one because like pink is my color, and like our color. But then I was like, you know what? Like purple, because I can't get the same one as you, Ken's,
Right.
because we'd get confused. And that would have been a mess.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? And I feel like a hot pink would have been like a little too much. So I was
like yours.
yeah, I love it. I think it's so pretty. So yeah, that's my obsession.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's so cute.
And I drink more water.
And honestly, it's a talking point. Like anybody at work that walks in with a Stanley, one of us,
Mm-hmm.
it always happens. How do you like your Stanley? Oh, I love the straw. Like it just is such a good talking point.
No, literally, when I went to Tyler's game, which by the way, they won. They're intramural champions again.
Big steppas.
Big steppas. But when I went to his game last week, or I guess this week, it was the first day I had it, and one of his teammates came up and was like, "How do you like your Stanley?" And I was like, "I just got it yesterday, but I love it." Like
Yeah.
it is a talking point.
It is.
So yeah, that's mine.
Well, I have an obsession, but I also have this one since I put this tank top on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obsessed with this tank top.
It looks really
I can
good.
never find white shirts that aren't see-through. I
Mhm.
literally got this at Zara for $10.
Was it on sale?
Yeah, it was on sale. It's the best tank top. So I'm like ready for summer now.
Mm-hmm. No, it's such a cute outfit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So my actual obsession is my menstrual cup, which I mentioned before on here like a long, long time ago, like when we first started.
A long, 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 long time.
Is that a reference?
Wrong, Missy.
Oh, sorry.
You're not on the level.
I was before we
you
started
were.
recording.
Sorry. Okay, keep going.
Okay, so yeah, I started using it like a while ago. Took a break because of my IUD, which feels like another life.
It does.
And then I recently rediscovered it, and I'm obsessed.
So, can I say,
Yeah.
like today? So I skip my periods with my birth control, and I actually love it now. But like I kind of have to, or else I'll get really bad migraines. And at first I was like, no, I don't want to skip. And then now I love it because I never have to worry about it. And so, but I got a menstrual cup when you got yours.
I forgot you had one.
I have one. It's in this drawer. So I have one, and then like I got it like during COVID, and after I got the vaccine, it like really disrupted my flow.
Yeah.
And it was never heavy again.
Right.
And so I've never used it. I've had it for like 2 years though. And so I was like curious today, and I asked Ken's if I could watch her like take it out and put it in. And I was right up there, you know. I really got a full
Front
view.
row seat.
Yeah, because you just take it out in the shower.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really interesting, and I'm actually glad you let me like watch. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we're obviously very comfortable with each other, but it was like interesting to see. I was like, okay, like that's cool.
It is. You were like, there's probably not that much. No.
I know, it was like full.
Yeah. But that's the nice thing. You put it in, you forget about it. You don't feel it at all. Like, it's literally perfect.
Now that makes me think, if that was like over like a 15-hour period, I would say, that you had it in, and the menstrual cup was like full, don't our bodies not ever like get like, we have this, we're born with our blood, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, if we're bleeding that much in 15 hours, how do we not bleed out?
I don't know.
Anyways,
Science.
that's a side thing. But yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
I love it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm obsessed. So, and yeah, like you were saying today, we don't use products anymore.
No.
Like literally, okay, I'm a pad girly as well. Like I hate putting in tampons.
But you used to be a tampon
I
girl.
used to be only tampons.
Yeah.
I hate them. So now it's like if my flow is like I'm like I'm not feeling the menstrual cup or whatever. If I am gonna use something, it's a pad.
Yeah. Before I started skipping, I was a tampon girly, but I used
Hmm.
to just be a pad girl. Like,
Hmm. It kind of changes, and like now I'm like using my menstrual cup. So
yeah, but it is nice because we never
I
use
don't
like
remember the
any
last
menstrual
time we
products.
bought pads or tampons, and we still have a ton.
I don't think we've bought any since we moved here. Actually, no, I
No,
I
we
bought one
have.
box.
Yeah, we have.
But yeah, it's just crazy. So
Yeah, anyway, I highly recommend. So it's not that scary. Like, just get in tune with yourself. You're all up in your own body, but it's not that weird.
yeah, I think that's probably like a negative stigma, but like it's
Yeah,
really not that weird. We should be connected to our bodies.
yeah, like, I have no problems with that.
Yeah.
All right, so enough about that. Let's get into our feminist highlight, who also is a woman in STEM. Very fitting for
Ooh.
today.
You said I'm grouping myself with her.
I'm literally obsessed with her. Her name is Dr. Maggie Adarin Pocock. This is from the Imperial College of London's website. Dr. Maggie Adarin Pocock is a space scientist, science communicator, and presenter of the BBC's The Sky at Night. She completed a PhD in the Department of Mechanical Engineering in 1994 after an undergraduate degree in physics, also at Imperial. She is currently managing director of Science Innovation Ltd, through which she organizes public engagement events which show school children and adults the wonders of space. This is going to be a little bit longer because there was just so much and
Yeah,
I like her.
it's cool.
So, keeping going. She actually really struggled in school growing up because she's dyslexic and she's had to work through that. So, that just kind
Wow.
of makes it more impressive, I think.
Yeah.
She began to love science, specifically physics, as well as space. And her passion for space was ignited after she took a telescope making class when she was a teenager.
Hmm.
And she realized she loved how it was hands on and how she was able to see the stars, which she was always drawn to. Dr. Adrin Pocock now has her own Barbie, which was released on International Women's Day of this year.
Aw.
Her Barbie wears a starry dress to remind everyone of her job, which is looking at the night sky, and also has a little telescope as well for
That's so
stargazing.
cute.
I
I
know.
love it.
So she said, "When I was little, Barbie didn't look like me. She's a black woman. When I was little, Barbie didn't look like me, so to have one created in my likeness is mind boggling. It's such an honor to receive this doll that is celebrating my achievements. My daughter and I danced around the living room when we heard." And Loki, I'm gonna cry because I'm on my
Aw.
period. She added, "Since falling in love with the idea of space travel as a young girl, I have spent my career trying to show girls how fascinating space science can be. I hope my doll will remind girls that when you reach for the stars, anything is possible." Why am I
Aw.
choking up?
That is really inspiring.
Yeah. I just think it's so cool, and the Barbie's so cute.
Yeah.
And I actually really appreciate that Barbie is like, I mean, they didn't in the past, but like now they're making dolls like after role models that I think are
Yeah.
really great for girls.
Mhm.
So when we have kids, those are the Barbies that we're gonna give our daughters,
Yeah.
and I like that.
I know. Yeah, I love that. I think that's really cool and um honestly like I think it is inspiring like that she struggled in school when she was young and obviously like she had a roadblock being dyslexic, but like just because you struggle in school, that doesn't mean you're not going to succeed in life.
Mhm.
Like you can still like accomplish great things and you can
Mhm.
get better and learn and stuff. So I think that's inspiring.
Yeah. So today we are doing an update on male birth control because I feel like in the past like few months I've seen a couple things on social media about it.
Yeah, I
So
have
it made me
too.
want to look into it a little bit and see where we're at basically.
Mhm.
Spoiler alert, still no contraceptive on the market, but I'm going to give some updates.
Did they ever test female birth control as much as they're testing male?
I highly doubt it. Let's be honest, they didn't.
Yeah.
So currently the only male birth control options are There's 3. You want to guess?
Condoms? Is that
Uh-huh.
one?
Yep.
Spermicide? Oh no, that's female.
There's 2 more.
Okay, wait. Condoms, abstinence,
Yep. Good job. I never think of
and
that.
oh, what? How else can you block? Oh, pulling out.
No, vasectomy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But not a good method, by the way.
Pulling
Don't do
out.
that.
Don't do that.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Um, okay, so you think about how many options there are for women, right?
Hmm.
So it just kind of puts it into perspective. Like, we really need to get this moving, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you a question though
Okay.
before we get into the updates, because this was like a really prevalent topic when Roe v. Wade was overturned. This was all over TikTok.
Yeah.
For you personally, do you think? Okay, let me put this into perspective for you. If
Hmm.
you went to Tyler and you said, "Hey, I'm sick of being on the pill,"
Hmm.
would you get a vasectomy?
So we've actually talked about that.
Okay. Is it, regardless of what his reaction was, is it a red flag, or is it a red flag to you if he would have been like, no?
So
Regardless of what he said.
yeah. Um, just immediately flat out no, yes, that's a red flag. Like
Okay.
if I was like, hey, this, and he was like, no, absolutely not. Like, end of discussion. That's a red flag. Can I say what he actually said?
Yeah.
So he did say flat. Just kidding.
Oh.
um, so I like brought it up with him, and we actually like looked into it because I'm on so many medications, and like I don't want to be. And we looked into it, and there is a risk of like it not being reversible, or like
Mhm.
you being infertile after. And so like he was like, oh, I would gladly do that to take the burden off of you, like let's research it. So we did, and then I we didn't want to risk it, like not that we would have actually gone through with it at this point because like we can't afford that,
Right.
but like we actually got to the point of like researching it because I was like, I don't want to be on the pill,
Right.
and I don't want to be on birth control any longer because it's not good for you. But yeah, no, we did get to that point where we researched it, and then we both decided like, no, that's too much of a risk because like we want to have kids in the future. So,
Yeah.
but no, in my opinion, I think it is a red flag if it's like no, end of discussion, because like why should it be put all on women?
Mhm.
It's not fair. Do
Right.
you agree or do you disagree?
I disagree because, so let me just preface first too. When Roe v. Wade was overturned, emotions were very high,
Hmm.
rightfully so. But there were all these girls that were like, if he won't get a vasectomy, leave him.
I don't
And it's
say
like,
that.
I
I just
know,
think
and
it's a red
it's
flag.
like so extreme. And to me, for one, like, there, it's very unlikely, but there are risks with vasectomies
Yeah.
to cause infertility and to not be reversible.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm like, you know what? Like, taking birth control every day sucks. And nobody likes it. No woman likes it
Hmm.
because it doesn't feel natural. But it would be a red flag to me if the person I was dating and I went to them and they were like, end of discussion, like, we're not talking about it. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Suck it up, basically. But if they were like, well, let's look, Tyler's reaction,
Yeah.
let's look into it. Like, I'm hesitant for these reasons, but let's look into it.
Yeah.
That's not a red flag to me.
No.
And even if he was like, I wouldn't like that, it wouldn't really be a red flag because we would discuss it. You know
Right,
what I mean?
exactly. Like what me and Tyler did.
Yeah. So to me, like, not really. And also, I do want to have kids, and so I'm like,
Yeah.
if I just need to take the pill, and like we know that works, and
Mhm.
there's been testing. That's what we've been doing for like decades now.
Mhm.
Then that's fine. Then that's what I'll do.
Yeah. It would be a absolute major red flag though if once like a male birth control pill comes out, and then if I were to be like, "Okay, Tyler, will you take the pill now instead of me? I don't want to take it anymore." And if Tyler was like, "Absolutely not. I don't want it to mess with my body."
Yeah.
That's a huge red flag.
Yeah. No, that would literally be like breakup for me.
Yeah. I mean, he obviously didn't do that. We've talked about that, and he was like, "Oh, if they had a pill, I would get on it right away."
Mhm.
So, but yeah, no, that would be a huge red flag because it's like, why should it all be on women if there's an option for men?
If there is an option, and it's, like, been proven
Mhm.
and gone through the testing just like women's, like,
Yeah.
then yeah, that would be a major red flag.
Yeah.
I was just curious because this was making me think of Roe v. Wade and,
Mhm.
like, that whole situation.
I think there's social media is just very extreme a lot of times, and then it makes you question, like, yourself or your
Yeah, your
relationship or
relationship, you're like, "Is this bad?"
yeah, but
Like,
it's like, no, your relationship is fine. You don't need
yeah,
to leave him, like, yeah, but that's a whole other thing.
yeah. Anyway,
We're gonna take a quick break to talk about our sponsor, BetterHelp.
it's 2023 and it's time to really prioritize our mental health this year. No matter where you are in life, everyone can benefit from therapy. Whether you need to work through trauma or just need a safe person to talk to, BetterHelp is here for you.
BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy service. Get matched with a professional licensed therapist in your state who you can trust.
BetterHelp has options to communicate with your therapist via chat, email, or video, and you can message them at any time to get help.
BetterHelp is giving our listeners 10% off if you sign up using the link in our show notes.
If you're struggling with depression, anxiety, relationships, trauma, grief, or just need someone to talk to, try BetterHelp today by clicking the link in our show notes or go to betterhelp.com/RTAFpod to get 10% off today. I just thought it was interesting.
That is interesting.
So, I'm going to share the most recent updates I can find. I only went with websites that were credible.
Mhm.
So I only pulled from two websites and then there was an article I found at the end that's interesting.
Okay.
So, also, I hate just reading long quotes, but sometimes there's
You
no
have
way I can
to.
sum it up because, for one, I don't really understand the science
Yeah.
mostly. So, this first article was from the NIH, the National Institute of Health, and it was published in February of 2022. Dr. Maria Dufault, who was the study's senior author, and her team discovered a protein which is called gonadotropin regulated testicular RNA helicase. So
Whoa.
we're going to refer to it as GRTH.
Okay.
This protein has many functions but was found in high levels in the testes of male mice, rats, and humans. So, this is a quote from the article. Nearly 10 years later, her team identified a genetic mutation in a small group of infertile men that affects the gene responsible for producing GRTH. Rather than shutting down the production of GRTH entirely, the mutation instead prevents GRTH from undergoing a process called phosphorylation. We're not, it doesn't matter what phosphorylation is. We just know that's a process, okay, for our sake.
How do they, like, figure all this
I
stuff
don't know.
out?
It blows my mind. It's so
Wait, and
cool.
it's a female doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so she's the senior like researcher author of this study.
Cool.
But basically, do you understand like
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So they found that mice with this particular GRTH mutation didn't have didn't have phosphorylated GRTH. So this means that they could not produce mature sperm and the mice were infertile.
So if they have this mutation of the GRTH
Yes.
gene, they're infertile.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a great way to sum it up. This is another quote. Though the study only included experiments in isolated cells, when combined with Dr. Defoe's past research, the findings suggest that cyclic peptides, doesn't matter if we know what those are, okay, that inhibit GRTH phosphorylation could one day be used to stop men from producing sperm. Let's let that soak in. For now, Dr. Defoe's team plans to examine how its cyclic peptides affect sperm counts, fertility, and behavior in mice, as well as whether the compound's effects reverse themselves when the treatment is stopped. Because that's also a big talking point with male birth control is whether it can be reversed, right?
Right.
Like with women, if we stop taking the pill within a week, like we could be
You could get pregnant.
yeah.
Yeah.
Creating a male birth control pill also presents numerous obstacles that will have to be overcome, such as creating a compound to put in the pills that does not get destroyed by the stomach and can cross the blood testes barrier. We're going to get into that towards the end. I have another article.
Okay.
But that is one example of some of the holdup in the research because the anatomy is different, right? Between
Yeah.
women and men. So there's other things that they're having to research.
Yeah. I wonder, like, I understand, like, the barrier of the testes because if you have, like, female sex organs, like, obviously you don't have that. But how would it make it different, like, how it breaks down in the stomach, you know? Like, don't all our stomachs work the
So,
same?
from what I read in the, you know what? Let me just scroll to the.
It's okay.
Well, we're
If we
gonna,
talk about it later, that's fine.
yeah, we're gonna talk about it later, but like, and not that much, but basically, from what I gathered, testosterone is broken down in the body differently than estrogen,
Okay.
and so that's the problem, like with the oral pill for
Okay.
men,
Okay.
is it's broken down differently,
Can we just give them a shot?
right?
But okay, that makes sense.
So that was the first article. I'm sorry if it doesn't make a lot of sense. I
No, it
tried to like
does. It
make it as clear as
does.
possible.
Because I'm not following the outline and I understand.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So the second article was published by the American Chemistry Society in March 2022, so a month later,
Okay.
and those are the most recent articles I could find.
Did we stop?
I don't think so, but
Okay.
I mean, to me, that just shows that there's not any new progress to report on.
Yeah.
One of the scientists in this article said, this is a quote, most compounds currently undergoing clinical trials target the male sex hormone testosterone, which could lead to side effects such as weight gain, depression, and increased low density lipoprotein, known as LDL cholesterol levels. We wanted to develop a non hormonal male contraceptive to avoid those side effects. After I read that, I was like, where is that for women? Like,
Right.
stop being a baby. We have all of these side effects,
Right.
and nobody freaking cares about that,
Mm-mm.
right? So I don't know. I just threw that in
And
there because it's
also, if
interesting.
it increases LDL,
Hmm.
that's the good cholesterol. So why would that have an impact?
I don't know. That was just in the
But
quote.
yeah, like weight gain and depression. Okay, those are the two biggest side effects of female birth
Yeah,
control. So that's sexist.
it
It
is.
is, flat out.
Yeah, made me mad. So he continues. This is another quote. To develop their non hormonal male contraceptive, the researchers targeted a protein called the retinoic acid receptor alpha. So we're going to shorten this to RAR alpha.
Okay.
This protein is one of a family of 3 nuclear receptors that bind retinoic acid, which is a form of vitamin A, that plays important roles in cell growth, differentiation, including sperm formation, and embryonic development.
Okay.
Okay? Knocking out this RAR alpha gene in male mice makes them sterile without any obvious side effects. So that,
Okay.
that could potentially lead somewhere.
Okay.
Continuing on. Other scientists have developed an oral compound that inhibits all 3 members of the RAR family, because there's also beta and gamma, not just alpha.
Hmm.
And this causes reversible sterility in male mice.
So they could stop taking it and have kids again.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's cool.
It is. So, this is other information that I pulled from the article. They looked further into the structure of RAR, that whole family,
Hmm.
and found a compound named YCT529. This compound dramatically reduced sperm counts in mice when given orally for 4 weeks, which isn't that long.
Yeah.
And then it also was 99% effective in preventing pregnancy and also didn't really have any observable side effects.
Okay.
Another important thing is the mice could also have babies 4 to 6 weeks after not taking the oral YCT529. So
Interesting.
when I was talking about the issue of like it being reversible
Hmm.
is a talking point, in mice, it
It
was shown
is.
that it is reversible.
When they target like that specific.
Yes. And only within 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. You know what this makes me think?
Hmm.
If okay, if we didn't live in a man's world, especially back when birth control pills were being developed, if they would have just actually, I feel like it would have made more sense because, like, the guys, like, if you have, like, male sex organs, you're the one with the sperm. Like, you can't get pregnant without the male sex organ,
Right.
and the sperm. So if they would have just looked and been like, it's the men that have the thing that needs to be stopped and just, like, done research and, like, figured this out, they could have.
They could have. And they
And they
didn't.
didn't. And it's just crazy that, like, it was put on women. Like, it's always just, like, to make it easier for the man
Hmm.
when I guarantee they could have, like, found a way
They
earlier.
definitely could have. Or at least like started and then been further than we are right now.
Right. Just interesting.
It's frustrating.
It is.
So, in this article, it also said that they will begin testing humans in mid to late 2022. I couldn't find anything.
Mm.
after this article. So
That's kind of scary though, because like being tested for that, like what
that's
if it
really
made you
scary.
infertile?
I know. I'm like, how do they like structure the testing criteria? Because it would also have to be people who are willing to be pregnant, who are
Hmm.
willing to get pregnant with their partners, right?
True.
But it could also go either way. So that's really difficult.
If I was a guy and I was like doing the test, I would like freeze some of my sperm before in
Yeah,
case.
just in case.
Yeah.
And props to the people who are being
Testing it.
tested.
If you're being tested, thank you.
Thanks for taking one for the team
Yeah, we appreciate
because we
it.
really need this.
We do. We're tired.
We're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Exactly. Okay.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
Yeah.
So that was the second article. I really hope you guys were able to understand that a little bit. I
No, I could
tried to make it
understand.
clear.
I could understand.
Okay. So I mentioned that third article. Um, I thought it was credible. It was a .com, which, to me, I'm like, I'm not really going to go towards that if I'm doing research, but it had some information in here that I liked. So this article was called Why Is There So No Male Birth Control Pill? And this article, they interviewed a doctor. Her name is Stephanie Page. And so she was sharing in this article.
Mhm.
Dr. Page is a professor at the University of Washington School of Medicine, and she's also a lead researcher on studies into contraceptives for men, including potentially a male birth control pill.
Okay.
So this is all like from her article.
Yeah.
Testosterone has a range of responsibilities in the body. It maintains a man's libido, it stimulates the growth of new bones and muscles, and supports other organs in the reproductive system like the prostate. It also plays a key role in sperm production. So high levels of testosterone in the testicles stimulate the testes to make viable sperm. She also quoted and said, "We can give men testosterone via a pill so that the brain senses that there is plenty of testosterone in the body and the man stops making testosterone within the testicle. Without high concentrations of testosterone in the testicle itself, the sperm don't mature." So does that make sense? It's like
Mhm.
more of like
Tricking your
the
brain.
brain body connection.
So that makes me think like, okay, if people take steroids and like they're giving themselves more testosterone, there are like you can have issues like
You can.
down there. So I'm like, that does seem like it would work. It might not be the most reliable, so I could understand them
I
like not
know.
wanting to approve it like clinically, but like we can see that like if you do take steroids, you can't have issues down there.
Yes, you can. But it also like makes your balls shrink.
Yeah.
And they obviously don't want that.
Yeah.
But if you have lower sperm count, then they're gonna shrink, right?
I don't know.
I really don't know.
I
Anyway, so Dr. Stephanie Page also said that one of the problems with an oral testosterone pill, which this is what I was mentioning in the
Right.
beginning, for men would be that testosterone is broken down quickly by the body, so quicker than estrogen.
Okay.
So this would mean that a pill, an oral contraceptive, why am I doing that? Like I'm smoking, would have to be taken 2 to 3 times a day at least. So
Oh.
that could really be a problem because a lot of women just take one pill and forget.
Yeah.
So imagine having to take 2 to 3 pills a day. Like nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest barriers is figuring out a way that testosterone wouldn't be processed so quickly in the body and broken down.
Yeah. I mean, if that was really the issue, it's like, okay, you just get on a medication schedule. Like, if you're on like
I know.
antibiotics,
Like it's doable, it's inconvenient, but it's doable.
yeah, like some could say it's inconvenient to take a pill or go for a girl and get your birth control shots or
Yeah.
whatever. But no, I do get the concern.
Yeah. So there haven't been any updates that I could find past that. So we know that they're working on it. We know they have been working on it. It just seems very slow going. And I stand by this. It's for men. So let's be honest.
It's gonna be
They're
slow
going to do
going.
everything and make sure it's the best thing on the market.
Yeah. Yep, and that's frustrating, and that's one of the ways that the healthcare system is against women.
They want it to be the best thing.
Mhm. Well, that was very informative. I actually like hearing the science behind it, even if I don't understand how, like, it works in depth,
Mhm.
it is nice to hear, like, the science behind it. Like, it's
Right.
interesting. It's like, "Okay, that makes sense."
And when I was doing the research, like, it doesn't matter if I know what a cyclic peptide is, like, I just need to know the process,
Yeah.
right? So you can, like, disregard all of that sciencey stuff,
Right.
and you just know the process, and you know, like, it is actually interesting, like, how they figure all this out. I
Yeah.
can't imagine.
I know, I'm like, "Wait, do I go back to school now? Like, what?"
Like, should I be a woman in STEM?
Like, that might be me now. Absolutely not. But, no, it is. It's interesting. It's, like, fun to learn.
Right. So as much as we're like, "No, this needs to happen within the next, like, 2 years," well,
I
they
stand by
do
that.
I know, but they do have progress that's been made.
Yeah, I wonder how long it took them to develop the female birth control
I
pill.
know.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I do think that was interesting, and it's nice to hear an update because, yeah, it was like last year when Roe v. Wade was overturned, where this was really a big
Mhm.
conversation. And then, like you said, like I really haven't heard that much about it since. So it's nice to like hear what's going on.
Yeah. Well, if you guys find anything else, let us know. Obviously, if they come out with something or there's, like, a huge update, we'll talk about it.
Right.
But in the meantime, follow us on our socials at Real Talk About Feminism Pod for Instagram and TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and our weekly email newsletter. This is all in the show notes, like it is every week. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Bye, guys.